Some people are critical of readings such as this in the King James Version. God brought them out of Egypt. He had, as it were, the strength of a unicorn. Critics point out the mythical unicorn and show yet another reason to not trust the Bible. Perhaps because of such claims, other Bible translations substitute the word unicorn for something different. The American Standard Version reads, God bringeth them forth out of Egypt. He hath, as it were, the strength of the wild ox. The word in question is the Hebrew word re'em, which is used a total of 9 times in Scripture. The root word of re'em means to rise, but scholars are honest in admitting that the translation of re'em is not certain. Many people at this point turn to the Septuagint, which translates this one Hebrew word 2 different ways. 7 times it is translated to mean one horn. 1 time it is translated as mighty one. 1 time it is not translated and left out of the text. Other people turn to the Latin Vulgate, which translates the one Hebrew word with 5 different Latin words. Jerome translated Psalms into Latin, and the 3 times re'em appears in the Psalms, he made the following translation choices. Once he translated as one horn, or single horn. Once he translated it as rhinoceros. And once he transliterated the Greek word monokeros as monocerotis. Ultimately, it comes down to what language a person wants to use as their foundation. Some use Hebrew, Greek, Aramaic, Latin, or English. I will use the Hebrew as my foundation. So what does the Hebrew reveal about this obscure animal? Numbers chapter 23 verse 22 reads, God brought them out of Egypt. They have the strength of a re'em. This shows us the animal is very strong. The next characteristic is in Psalm chapter 29 verse 6. He makes Lebanon leap like a calf, Sirion like a young re'em. This shows us the animal leaps, at least when it is young. The second characteristic appears in Job chapter 39 verses 9 through 10. Will the re'em consent to serve you? Will it stay by your manger at night? Can you hold the re'em to the furrow with a harness? Will it till the valleys behind you? These verses show that the animal was not domesticated. A third characteristic is in Deuteronomy chapter 33 verse 17. His glory is like the firstling of his bullock, and his horns are like the horns of a re'em. This verse shows us that a singular re'em can have multiple horns. Does this invalidate the idea of an animal with a single horn? Maybe not, because of what it says in Psalm chapter 92 verse 10. You have exalted my horn like that of a re'em. Here it is possible that a re'em could have only one horn, while another in the re'em family may have multiple. Such is the case with the rhinoceros family. Interestingly enough, a rhinoceros is a possible beast that fits this description, as a young rhinoceros does indeed leap. But writers from the 5th century BC also describe a single-horned beast that is distinct from the rhinoceros. The use of the word unicorn can be drawn from the Greek Septuagint, which chose to translate the Hebrew word re'em with the Greek word monokeros, which means one horn. The Septuagint is puzzling in that it reads, the horns of a unicorn. The plural horns of a one horn. I don't get it. The more common use of the word unicorn is from European folklore from the 5th century or later. This is of course much later than the completion of the Hebrew Scriptures. This shows that the Bible is not referring to such an animal that would not even be invented until much later in the future. This video gave us some ideas of what the re'em is or was. Translations that use the word unicorn are either arrived at from the context, or may be a wrong choice by a translator that failed to distinguish correctly between singular and plural words. As far as I know, the first translation to use the word unicorn is William Tyndale's translation in 1530. So the issue is not to be made with the scriptures, but rather with translations of them.